Hi, this is a quick tutorial and I want to cover mask path data. In other words, copying mask paths to other mask paths and also copying a mask path onto a position attribute as a motion path. That can be either onto itself, onto its own layer, or onto another layer. I'm going to start with copying mask paths onto other mask paths. So I'm going to start by creating a new solid and make it black. Punch that to the bottom and just put it there. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is create a quick mask. I'm just going to see if I can make a quick heart. I guess that's for Valentine's Day, close to the season. Now on the same layer I'm going to create a second mask. I'm just going to make kind of a funny shape, kind of like a SpongeBob flower or something like that. Alright, so we've got on one layer, we've got these two separate masks. Neither of them are animated. I'm going to hit M now to reveal both of them. I've got mask 1 and mask 2. Okay, so I'm going to animate mask 1. I'm going to hit the stopwatch. I'm going to move forward 10 frames. And I'm going to copy and paste that first keyframe so that the heart shape, this is the heart mask, that heart shape stays for about 10 frames. I'm going to go another 10 frames forward. This time I'm going to copy the data from this second mask onto this mask path to make a morph. I'll show you what I mean. If I animate it, in other words, if I hit the stopwatch on the second mask path, it creates a new keyframe. That keyframe holds the data that I need to paste onto this first mask path. So I'm going to hit Control C, select the first mask path, and at this point in the timeline I'm going to hit Control V to paste it. Now you can see the heart shape disappears for a second, and what we have is a heart staying still, holding for 10 frames, and then over the next 10 frames it morphs into this funny flower shape. Now I can delete the second mask because I've already extracted the data from that keyframe. I don't need this mask path anymore. I just want to see the heart morphing into some kind of a funny shape there, just to show how that works. So that now I have all of this animation along one mask path. Now you can see right here where some of these vertices intersect and go in and out. That has to do with the placement of the path when you create it. You want to make sure that you go in the right direction. And I can't tell you what the rule is, but you'll just have to figure that out. If you see this happening, it's to do with the fact that maybe I drew the heart in this direction and maybe I drew the flower in the opposite direction or the same direction. Either way, it's having to convert each of these vertices to their new position as it gets to this third point here. And just to illustrate, I can now select one of the heart-shaped mask path keyframes and go forward and paste it over here on the timeline, and it will bounce back to the original shape. So that's basically, in a nutshell, how you copy mask paths onto other mask paths. Okay? The second thing I want to illustrate is about copying mask path data, just like we did, but this time pasting it onto the position attribute, and that will create what's called a motion path. Okay? So I'm going to delete this heart mask. Now I'm just back to my black solid. I'm going to create a triangle. So I'm using my pen tool. Okay, so now we have a triangle mask path. And on the same layer, I'm going to create an ellipse. So I'm going to go up to my ellipse tool, create a little circle. I'm holding down Shift to constrain proportion, and now because it's a little bit off center, I'm going to hit the space bar, and that allows me to move the mask path anywhere around the scene. Next thing I'm going to want to make sure is that my anchor point on this layer is to the center of that ellipse, which is good enough for now because I drew the ellipse in the right position. Okay, so what I want to do now is take this data of this triangle shape and transform that into a motion path for this ellipse. Now right now they're both mask paths are on the same layer. Well, that's fine. I'm going to use the position attribute of this layer to drive the motion of this circle. So the first thing I need to do is, on the first mask path, I've got the triangle here, I need to create a keyframe. Just one will do, right here. That keyframe holds the data of each of these vertices, the XY value of each of these vertices. I'm now going to hit Control-C on the keyboard to copy that keyframe. That's thereby copying the data. Now on its own layer, on this layer I'm going to hit P to reveal the position value. I'm going to go to the beginning of the timeline, select position, and then I'm going to paste that keyframe data by hitting Control-V. And what's happened is all of the XY coordinates, the three XY coordinates of the triangle have now been converted into a motion path, and you can see the motion path right here. Now don't be confused by the triangle that's still there and following along. That's simply because if I open up my mask path attributes here, it's simply because I still have that triangle mask drawn here on this layer. If I delete that, I'm just left with the ellipse and the triangle mask path data that has now become the motion path. So if I play that, the circle will now follow the path of the triangle that I had created. And that could be any kind of mask path, and neither does it have to be a closed mask. It could be an open-ended wiggly line with the pen tool. You might choose to animate a camera through a scene by creating the motion path of the camera with the pen tool and pasting it onto any of the position or camera handles on the camera layer. One more thing I want to point out here is that you have these 4 keyframes, a normal keyframe either side, and in this case 2 roving keyframes. They basically rove over time, so I can stretch out the full duration of this animation by dragging the final keyframe to the end of the timeline. So there we have it. That's a very quick tip, short tutorial on copying mask path data for other mask paths and for motion paths using the position attribute to paste to. I hope that's helpful. Please practice this and watch the tutorial again if you need to. All the information should be there. Leave me a comment if there's something else you need to know or you have something you'd like to add. Alright, thank you.